Morning routines are extremely powerful tools for changing your life. But I never was consistent for long because I was doing random stuff before I did the important things. Even if what I did was really evidence-based and reasonable, it never really helped me with my consistency. So, first and foremost, I had to figure out what made me stay consistent. How to reignite that fire within me that made me keep going no matter how tough my life was getting. Because knowing how to reignite that spark to actually do the morning routine is way more important than even the best morning routine that you're not doing. That's why I call what I now do the spark. And when I started doing this, I felt like I could tap into this limitless source of motivation, even in tough times, or especially in tough times. And I got the idea from combining two great concepts. First, Viktor Frankl's timeless classic Man's Search for Meaning. He looked at people in one of the worst conditions, literally. People locked up in concentration camps, and he was one of them. And he looked at the difference between those people that gave up and those that kept going, that were able to find some motivation within themselves, even under those circumstances. And I thought, if these people can find meaning and motivation, so can I. Because Viktor Frankl says it's man's deepest desire to have meaning, to have purpose, to find a reason to face all this pain, all this suffering that life throws at us, and to be victorious in the art of living. Meaning is the limitless source of motivation, even if you find yourself in the worst situation you can be in. And meaning motivates us way more than cars, money, or anything else. The problem is, when you ask yourself, what is meaningful? It is a very confusing question, but feeling pumped about money or girls is very easy, especially nowadays where we live in a world filled with weapons of mass distraction. Everybody wants your attention, everybody wants your money, dragging you on their path, but nobody cares about whether you find your own path or not. So finding meaning is confusing, and confusion is psychologically painful, but getting a limitless source of motivation, even in the face of the greatest suffering you can imagine, is well worth your time. Because superficial motivation leaves quickly when pain enters your life. It's very difficult to get stoked about your new car when your health is going down the drain. But motivation from meaning just gets started when you find yourself in a bad spot in life. For example, you could find meaning in finding a cure to the illness that is destroying your health and then sharing it with the world. So how do you find that meaning? How do you reignite that spark every single day? You do that by using the structure of stories, which is one of the oldest ways of our mind to make sense of reality. And with story, you can even reach the most primitive parts of your mind. And you only need 4 good questions to create a good story. Number 1, the character, you. What are my strengths and weaknesses? Every good character in a story has strengths and weaknesses. The tension between those two makes a story interesting. And we are here to create a very inspiring, very interesting story for yourself. So be objective and not overly negative. And you don't have to list everything all the time. It's enough if you're only focusing on one thing at the moment, then it's totally fine to list like 1 strength and 1 weakness at the moment. In my own story, for example, when I started out, one of my main weaknesses was my intense social anxiety. But one of my strengths was my basically endless endurance to find a solution, to finally figure this out, no matter what. Number 2, who's my enemy? What is my obstacle to overcome? External and internal. A story stands and falls with a good villain. In order to get you inspired, like what enemy to rise up against, what obstacle to overcome, what really inspires you? Ask yourself that question, really get the sense of that. And we all know that very often it is way easier to find problems in other people and find an external enemy. But look for both. Look for an internal and an external obstacle to overcome. In my own case, my internal enemy was also my weakness, the social anxiety. And in a way, kind of like an obstacle. Not really, but you get the point, I think. Other people and women were the obstacle I had to overcome. Not really, because obviously I wanted to connect with them. I didn't want to like fight them or win over them or anything. But that was what I focused on to figure out and to like, how do I connect with other people? Number 3, the struggle. What can I do right now? What actions can I take day in and day out to defeat my enemy, to overcome my obstacle? Really ask yourself, what struggle makes your story great? One of the best examples in movie history is Rocky Balboa. When he trains, when he really just goes at it full-heartedly, runs up the stairs and starts believing in himself and really starts putting in the work. And it's very important that you focus on what you can do right now. Not like the biggest, baddest, most elaborate thing you can think of, but what simple task can you do right now, today? Doing that, focusing on that, makes it basically crushes feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, shame, anxiety, and even depression. Focusing on how to overcome the obstacle with what you can do rather than the obstacle itself massively increases your chances for success. So first I was mainly focusing on calming down the nervous system, calming down the anxiety. Then going out, obviously I still was very scared most of the time, but then actually going out, learning some social skills and just talking with people and really making at least some positive experiences to just really change and break my old patterns and create new ones and build new ones that I was just enjoying way more. Number 4, why is that important to me? You don't have to go into like cosmic detail here either. For me, overcoming my social anxiety was very, very simple. I just wanted to have some friends. I just wanted to feel loved. I wanted to feel like someone cared about me, and that's it. That's good enough. Find the answers that really ignite that spark within you, that really test out 10 different answers on that day when you're like going through the exercise and really just feel into yourself like what really gets you going. To me, it almost feels like I'm trying out different keys that day. Just saying this sentence, the other sentence, thinking about it a little bit differently, phrasing it a little bit differently, and then seeing how do those different phrases make me feel. 1 week focusing on this grand big concept of like bringing order to chaos really fires me up. But then the next week it kind of like starts losing its juice and I shift to another one and find out that simply reminding myself of that I am here anyway and I don't have anything better to do than make my situation a little bit better and to make the world in general a little bit better. The beauty of this tool is that it evolves with you, alongside you. Like as you grow stronger, as you change your situation, as you change your life, as you develop your character, different things become more important. And going through that process with asking yourself questions, open-ended questions, you always have the chance to find new nuggets, new inspirations. Answer these 4 questions every morning and you can fire up that spark, that motivation every single day within yourself. Please write your own inspiring story for yourself. And in this video, I show you the fastest way to overcome even the most intense emotion, whether that's anxiety or an urge for PMO or eating junk food, anything. You can overcome anything with that.